Chapter 6 Maverick. I don't know what game Jim is playing. Getting him alone before he had to go on stage was a nearly impossible. Was a near impossibility, and why have I been tasked with watching Frankie remains a mystery. But I'm beginning to get an idea. She isn't one of us. That much is clear. When she told me her killer name, the Fisherman, I knew she was full of shit. The Fisherman died on Double Horn Island several years ago. That's why the bridge is known as the Fisherman's Bridge. What I don't know is why she lied, and I'm sure that it had something to do with what I'm tasked with finding out. Or maybe it has something to do with whatever Jim is doing on stage right now. Not to mention, this is the first I'm hearing about a scavenger hunt. I wonder what this man has done, Jim says as he walks around the iridescent suit. Unlike the other three, this figure shows no signs of fear. He stands like a soldier, tall and proud, with his shoulders down, pulled back, his eyes glare straightened ahead. Frankie fidgets beside me. She's either excited or uneasy about the impending kills, but either way, she can't keep still. Her feet shuffle under the chair, and her gloved hands grip the side of the seat as she twists and withers in her skin. Her gas mask turns towards me, and the fidgeting stops. She folds her hands in her laps and looks away from me again. Interesting. Back on stage, the man is still doing his best to look unaffected as Jim strolls around him and talks about parasites hiding among the wolves who hide among the sheep. The Normandies are the sheep. We are the wolves. But who the fuck are the parasites? The room falls deathly silent as we all tune into Jim's frequency. They want to take us down from the inside because the laws they created to protect themselves have protected some of us as well. They want proof of our crimes more than they want of their next breath. So, I've chosen to delay them the latter. Jim smiles, shifts from amused to satanic as he looks into the crowd. Everyone, please ensure your masks are securely fastened and enjoy the show. Entry of the Gladiators. Blast through overhead speakers as Jim lowers his mask, raises his hood, and hurries off the stage. Once he's seated with us at the table, the lounge lights cut off completely, giving the stage all the glory. Beside me, Frankie's head twists on a swivel as everyone else stares straight ahead and waits for the chaos to begin. She looks around. For what? A loud bang reverberates overhead, and someone screams. I'm pretty sure it was Cat. Confetti rains down on the stage, followed by a loud hissing sound. The bang came from the confetti cannons, but the hissing, the woman who collapsed earlier chooses a pretty terrifying time to wake up. Her eyelids flutter open as the fluorescent green gas overtakes the stage. The Santonic soldiers on the end doesn't lose his nerve. He keeps standing, staring out into the darkness as he welcomes death. For nearly 30 seconds, nothing else happens. The cattle in the red suit tries to get off stage, but the chain securing their legs together also secures him to the floor. He can't take more than a few steps before he's brought to a halt. With his hands bound behind his back, he can't even stop himself as he falls to the floor. Like the woman beside him, his head cracks against the wood, though I doubt anyone in the back heard it. The music is still so loud. Speaking of the music, it shifted to a softer part of the song. Two figures in orange PPE gear wander onto the stage and douse the forecastle in a cloud of glitter shots from packs on their back. They spin to the beat of the song, adding to the show. Frankie leans closer to me and shouts, "What the actual fuck is happening right now? Are we supposed to kill them?" "I don't think so," I shout back, though I'm not entirely sure what's happening. I can't remember Jim ever bringing government employees onto the killing fields, but it seems that what he's hiding at with the fourth victim, he's either a cop, a fed, or a suspect, a soldier. Is that why he wants me to keep a close eye on this woman? It would explain why she got so fidgety when the first cattle was revealed. Is this part of Jim's scavenger hunt? She must be one of them too. A loud, retracting sound comes from the stage, right as a large hoop drops from the ceiling. What the fuck did Jim find a criminal aerial list? But then the orange-clad figure tries its first high flying maneuver, and down they go. They land on the stage in a withering heap, and no one goes to check on them. We're all too busy laughing. The retracting sound returns, but it's double this time. Red Castle and Pink Castle sit up on their knees and gag until the blood vessels burst in their faces. Second later, Red Castle vomits a puddle onto the stage that matches the color of his suit. Blood and thick chunks of pink material filter through the stitches. The entire time, Soldier Castle stands like a statue, and then I realize why. He's holding his breath. Red Cattle finally collapses and begins seizing as Pink coughs up a chunk of lung, literally. Instead of coming through the stitches, however, the chunks fall from her nose. She looks into the crowd, and several people cheer when she collapses onto her face. Jim claps his hands and turns towards me, then points at the stage. He says something, but I can't hear him over the song. He smacks his knees and doubles over, laughing at the joke only he heard. Back on the stage, Red has stopped moving and Pink has begun convulsing. A portly pink foam spills from her mouth as her legs thrash and spin her body in a circle on the stage. When the chain catches, she just lies there and jerks. I look back at the soldier, who was forced to take a breath halfway through the song. The glitter brigade pumps one more sparkling cloud into his face, then hurries off the stage. I wait and watch, but at the end of the song, he's still standing. Well, this won't do, Jim says as the music fades away. He rises from his seat and climbs onto the stage again. After stepping over the two bodies, both of which are now still, he skips past the yellow cattle and goes straight for the soldier. I had my scientists work for Soldier for months on a new nerve gas, and you defeated it by holding your breath. This won't do at all. I chuckle to myself. When Jim killed that doctor who was abusing his elderly patients, he inherited the man's entire legacy via a bite of legal slice of hand. That came with the care homes and the entire scientific branch. He kept the team that was working on cures for cancer, but he added a new team of his own to work on highly illegal chemical agents. Now we know why. Jim places his hand above his gas mask as if he's shielding his eyes from the sun and looks into the crowd. Frankie, where are you, dear child? You're new here, and I'd love to give you the honors. I turn to look at Frankie, but her chair is empty. She's no longer seated beside me, and even if somewhere in the room, I never know. Not with all these gas masks. She went to the restroom, I shouted, and I don't know why I'm covering for her, especially not when Jim already knows the score. Hell, he knows more than I do at this point. Jim's mask slants as he tilts his head. Did she now? Well, then I guess we'd better put the game on pause for the time being. We'll get this yellow cattle trained for staff work, and we'll send this other fellow back to the bridge. He turns towards the soldiers. For now. A few workers in orange suits and gas masks hurry onto the stage. Some drag the dead bodies away, while the others lead the two living cattle off stage right. As for the rest of you, Jim says, please exit in the hall, strip out of your suits, and meet us in the center's dining room in 15 minutes. The lights click on and I file out of the lounge with everyone else. Once we're in the hall, Ice Pick is the first to strip out of his suit. I think the rest of us are a bit nervous about the potential for immediate death. You'll all be fine, Jim says as he joins us. He's already removed his mask. In reality, there was no need for the suits at all. It was all for show. Red and Pink were injected with a substance several hours ago and that substance reacted with the gas we released. Cat rips open off her mask. You mean to tell me that I've been suffocating in all this shitty fucking texture for nothing? Fabric rustles and annoyed grumbles fill the air as everyone begins undressing. Everyone except Bennett. He only takes off his mask as Jim toddles to another group of people. Aren't you ready to get out of these hot suits? I asked Bennett. His cheeks flame red, but he doesn't answer me. Cat chuckles as she steps out of the suit and kicks it away from her. Mr. Genius over here thought he commando under the suit, so now he's forced to wear it to dinner. It was hot, okay? Bennett starts down the hall towards the dining room, and Cat follows him. I shake my head and go back to the task at hand. Once the shiny suit is on the floor, I turn and spot Frankie a few feet away. The mask is off, and her face is a few shades paler, but she's still wearing the hideous outfit. You can take that off now, I say, as I step closer. She looks down at the outfit and seems to remember where she is. Oh, right. After gripping the first glove, she stops and looks at me. Are you sure it's safe? Nerve gas can remain effectively by... It wasn't nerve gas. It required a catalyst. That's why Yellow and the soldier didn't die. The soldier? I mentally kicked myself for calling the guy by the nickname I coined in my mind. Yeah, the guy on the end. He held his breath and looked into the face of death, like a soldier. Well, he spit in the face of death. That's more accurate. He didn't die? I shake my head and notice when she seems to breathe a sigh of relief. I thought she was thrown off by the nickname, but in reality, she was only concerned with his face. Something is definitely off here. She grips the zipper and lowers it, completely unaware that I'm beginning to suspect her. And that's good. If I want to discover whatever it is Jim wants me to discover, she needs to think I'm on her side. Here, let me help you with that. I step closer to her. Hold on to me so you don't fall. The fabric kind of clings to your legs. She unfastens the straps, securing the pants around her ankles, then stands and grips my shoulder. I'm a fairly tall man, and she's a fairly short woman, but never in my life has a woman seemed so delicate and small as she stands before me, like something I need to protect. Fiercely. Then, she nibbles her bottom lip as she tries to pull her leg free, and I have to look away. When she does cute shit like that, it makes me want to protect her even more. And something tells me that's a horrible feeling to have. If she's a cop, or worse, then I need to keep a safe distance. Once she's out of her spacesuit, we start down the hallway. Most everyone has already undressed and headed towards the food, but a few people still struggle with their suits. I don't recognize any of them, and my suspicion grows as I study each face. How many soldiers did Jim let into the night mid-set. "Hey, Maverick, just the man I wanted to see," Jim shouts as he spats us coming down the hall. He leaves his post beside the dining room door and comes towards us, grabbing Frankie's hand as he reaches us. "Dear girl, I hate that you missed the grand finale of the first event. We'll have to do better next time, huh?" Frankie smiles up at him, completely unbothered by his little jab. "Sorry about that. I have a tiny bladder, even for a woman, and I had to listen when nature calls." "It's okay, dear. Just hurry inside and find your seat, and we'll be along shortly." He smiles and rocks on his heels, holding his hands behind his back as he waits for her to walk away. She looks back at me, and that's when I know she sees me as her. Lifeline, which is exactly what Jim intended. "He'll be seated right beside you, don't worry," Jim says with a smile when he notices her hesitation. Frankie's head jerks back towards the dining room, and then she hurries inside. I go to follow her, but Jim grabs my arm. "Just a moment, a word, if you will." With his grip still firmly fastened around my bicep, he drags me away from the doorway. We don't stop until we're far enough that not even a listening device can hear us. "You have a special mission on this retreat," he whispers. "So I've heard. Oh, don't be annoyed with me. Isn't it more fun this way?" I raise an eyebrow. "No, not really." Jim scoffs and folds his arms over his chest. "Would you prefer if I gave the assignment to someone else?" I'm sure Ice Pick would be more than happy to trade rooms. "No, I can do it." My agreement comes a little quickly, so I dial it back. "I'm not happy about it, but I can do it. It would be helpful if I knew what it was, however." "I knew you'll see sense." He claps his arm around my shoulder and leans closer. "All you have to do is convince the girl that we aren't so bad." So, am I correct to assume that she's part of some sort of legal agency that could bring everyone crashing down around us? "Yes, son. You know the long and short of it. As it were, she's a fed. But I don't just want you to keep an eye on her. I want you to convince her that we aren't worth the paper our warrants would be printed on." "Feds? As in multiple?" Jim nodded. "How many?" "The exact number isn't important, but..." "How many, Jim?" He drops his arm from my shoulder, shakes his head and sighs. 5 of the cattle, 4 of the sinners, and 1 of the normies. 10 total? My eyes widen. 11, when you count your little stowaway. You want us to convince 11 federal agents that serial killers aren't so bad? Jim, have you lost your fucking mind? Jim looks around as if someone might have heard me, but we were the only people in the hall now. "Keep your voice down and no. I don't expect the others to be convinced of anything. Only Frankie. The rest are for the sinners to find and dispose of. This is insanity. He smiles. Isn't it glorious? No, not really. How do you expect me to convince her we're good guys? You just put one of her people on stage in front of her, and I'm pretty sure she knew it. She has to know the truth of who we are, Maverick. She can't be convinced with tricks and deception. If she's going to accept us for who we must be, she has to know exactly what we do. Why? Why this woman? Just keep her safe and bring her around to our way of thinking. That's your mission, and this is your final chance to hand it to someone else. I stuffed my hands into my pocket and stared down at the black carpet. Keeping herself won't be an issue, but am I really the person to convince someone that murder is okay? Fine, I'll do it. Jim clapped his hands together. That's my boy. After dinner, we'll participate in our first activity. Make sure she's in your group. Before I can ask anything else, he starts towards the dining room, leaving me in the hallway, alone and confused.